recording. So if you guys have to hop off early, that's totally okay, but we're recording. So today we're going to cover a couple topics, what we call custom Facebook audiences. We're going to cover how to measure a successful Facebook ads campaign. And then we're going to wrap up with how to do Instagram stories. So we'll dive in and go ahead. Can everyone see my screen? And the other thing too is if you guys have any questions, I have everyone muted right now, so I won't be able to hear anyone. So if you guys could, if you can right now at this time, just find out where to send a chat. If you have any questions, type them here. But if you guys could just let me know that you can hear me and see me, and I will go ahead and start. Tom, I know you sent me a message a couple minutes ago, but can someone send me a chat on this and let me know you guys can see me? Beautiful. Thank you, Jeremy. It is going to be good times indeed. All right, so let's first talk about what are Facebook custom audiences. So this is a loaded statement, and there's a lot attached to what we call the audiences. So a Facebook audience, that you can have multiple audiences within an ad. So if you've attended the initial class, you should have been familiar with how I go and I set up, I go and set up an ad, and then I have to choose the actual audience. So let me go over and just pick the audience real quick. And so what I trained you guys to do is pick the audience. I'm going to go ahead and just type in an address here in San Diego. And then the audience that we selected is Realtor.com, Trulia, and Zillow. So that's considered a Facebook audience. Now, the other thing that you can do is you can create multiple Facebook audiences. So for the agents who have ever done farming, do you know how when you pick a specific zip code? So I'm here in Rancho Penasquitas, 92129. When I send out that postcard, my audience would be people who live in 92129. So the cool thing with Facebook ads is it allows you to do multiple audiences within an ad. So this audience I just set up that you guys are looking at with Realtor.com and Trulia, that's one audience. Give you an example of another audience. You could say, hey, I want to target anyone who's visited my website. Or maybe you want to use Facebook to stay in front of your past clients. And you've got all your clients maybe in Moxie, or you've got them on an Excel spreadsheet somewhere. You could upload that audience to Facebook and say, hey, Facebook, I want you to show this specific ad to this custom audience that I'm going to call past clients. And so that's what I'm going to show you here today. So once again, I can't hear anyone. So if you guys do have any questions, send it through the chat. So that is kind of the overall picture of what an audience is and how there's multiple audiences that you can create. So what we're going to go ahead and do, what we need to first do is we need to set up a Facebook pixel. Now, I'm going to start sounding like a nerd here, so I'm going to go a little bit slow over this. And if you guys have any questions, please, please, please don't hesitate to chime in. This can be a little too technical for some people. So if I have to say something 2 or 3 times, don't feel bad interrupting me. So here's what a Facebook pixel is. So right now, I went to the website ESPN.com. Now, later on today, I'm eating lunch and I jump on Facebook. All of a sudden, I'm going to start seeing sponsored ads that pop up. So Subway. I think I joked with you guys yesterday, but I actually just got the green light to drive again. But after having a ruptured Achilles for the last couple months. But Subway's targeting me because I had Uber Eats deliver Subway to me last week. So I see the sponsored ad. Now, what's cool is ESPN, if they wanted to, they could create a Facebook ad and say, hey, I want to target all males between the age of 35 and 45 who have recently been on ESPN.com. So ESPN, what they're doing is they're sending my Facebook, their data back to Facebook. So what that means is any website that you visit, a lot of these websites today, billions and billions of them, they're sending the data back to Facebook. And the reason why is because ESPN wants to know, hey, I want to know everyone that comes and goes to ESPN.com and clicks on the NFL page. and I want to show them a Facebook ad talking about football. So how this becomes relevant for you as a real estate agent is I could go to your real estate website. So Rich, for example here, Rich could say, hey, I want to install a Facebook pixel on my website. That way, anytime anyone comes to my website, I can then retarget them. So you guys have probably heard that phrase before, retarget or remarket. The most simple way of understanding it is Amazon. You know how when you go on Amazon and you shop for a black pair of Nikes and they follow you around the internet? That is all because of a tracking pixel is installed. So that's kind of the complexity of it. I'm going to pause there and just see, anyone have any questions? Does that make sense? Any questions? Once again, I can't hear you guys, so a couple other people joined on. If you do have any questions, send it through the chat. Otherwise, I'm going to keep moving on if no questions about what a pixel is. Beautiful. I always take the awkward silence as a good thing. So we need to set up a pixel now. So how we do that, just to recap, you have to go set up your Facebook business account. So I recommended you guys go to business.facebook. Now, once you do, you're going to see all of these options here in the left, upper left corner. So there's 9 little dots in the upper left. And if I click on that, I'm going to see audiences. And then I'm also going to see something events manager. Now, events manager, you're only going to have to do this piece once. And then once you have your pixel installed, then you just create a bunch of audiences. And so this will all make sense here in just a couple minutes. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to install a pixel, or we're going to create a pixel. So I already have a bunch installed, you know, for my clients that I work with all over the country. But what I have the ability to do is I can, so this is my pixel right here. Everyone should see this. And then it also says the last time data was received was 8 minutes ago. So it's constantly sending me data from all of the websites that these consumers are going to. But I need to install or add a new data source. I need to add a new pixel. So I click on new data source. I'm going to click on Facebook pixel. All right. And it's going to ask me to name that pixel. So if I were you, I would name it, you know, your Windermere website. So if my name was John Smith, I would call that John Smith WHE website traffic. Or if you wanted to, you could just put johnsmith.com pixel, something like that. So once you name that, now you will have to put in your website URL. So your website URL is going to be the www.johnsmith.com or whatever your website is. A lot of you agents, I know you have like your Windermere website, and that's okay. So if it's a website URL, so like Rich, for example, richjohnson.withwre.com. Someone else might have johnsmith.windermererealestate.com or whatever it is. So whatever your website URL is, that is what you're going to put in here. And then as soon as you hit continue, okay, so it's saying pixel already exists. I'm going to go ahead and pretend like I went through and created this. So as soon as I hit continue, this is what you guys are going to see. So just ignore me for like 3 seconds here. Oops. Come on. It's slowly loading. All right. There we go. All right. So what I have the ability to do now is install this pixel. So as I mentioned, as soon as you guys hit continue, you're going to see this on your screen. And it's going to, what I'd recommend doing is you need to install this pixel. All right. So I clicked on setup here and I clicked install pixel. And then it's going to ask me to do a few things. For most of you, I would recommend just emailing this over to whoever your office coordinator is, or Jensen or Sandy or Katie. And I gave them the heads up that, you know, a bunch of agents might be emailing them over. So just be patient. It'll take maybe a couple days. I know Katie's like in Seattle right now. But what you will want to do is you'll hit email these instructions. And it will allow you, I don't know, I'm getting an error message right now, but right now what will happen is it'll ask me to put in or type in, you know, what's my website person, what's their email address. So I would put that in at that time. So let me just kind of recap that real quick. That was a little sloppy. So we're going to hit add new data source. We're going to create a Facebook pixel. Once you create that Facebook pixel, then you need to install that Facebook pixel. Once again, you click on setup, install pixel, and then you would email those instructions over to your website you know, provider. So this could be Jensen, this could be Katie. If you have another website, email it to them. Let's see if it works. No, it didn't work again. But yeah, typically it pops up where you type in someone's email. Once that pixel has been installed on the website, then what happens is moving forward, Facebook is going to track every single person that comes to your website. So I always like to use kind of an analogy, because I'm a cheesy analogy guy, of if you owned a department store. So let's say I owned a Foot Locker. Do you know how when someone walks into Foot Locker, that little door chime goes off? Ding! What happens with Facebook Pixel is it sets off that little virtual door chime, and it starts to record every single person that walked in to your virtual store. So anytime someone comes to your website, think of that little door chime going off. Now, what happens is your website now is going to send that data back to Facebook and say, hey, John Smith just visited my website. So now you've got a audience, and that audience is going to be called, you know, as we mentioned, John Smith, Windermere website traffic, or whatever you name it. So you start to build up a list. So today, maybe you get 10 people that visit your website. Tomorrow, you get another 10. The following day, you get 10. So now that audience list, that size of that list would be 30 people. So does that make sense? Can anyone give me some feedback? Shoot me a thumbs up, shoot me an emoji. What type of data does Facebook collect? That's really, really good information. It depends. It depends on what browser you have. It depends on if you are, that's a really, really good question. The easiest answer to that is they're going to record all your browsing history. So if you go to ESPN.com and then you log on to US Bank and then you go to another website, basically any website that has a Facebook pixel installed is going to send that data back to Facebook. So it's pretty crazy and overwhelming to think about, but pretty much every website right now, every major website, they have a Facebook pixel installed where they're actually sharing that data with Facebook. So hopefully that answers that question, Tom. What other questions about a pixel? Beautiful. Any other questions at all? Can anyone else give me the thumbs up? I'm looking for feedback here because I sound like a nerd, and to me this stuff's really easy, but I always want to make sure everything I've shared so far makes sense. Otherwise, I'm going to keep moving on if we don't have any questions. All right, we are going to keep trucking along. So now we've got a pixel. We've got the pixel installed on our website. We know that that data is being shared back with Facebook. So now I get to create audiences. And as I mentioned a few minutes ago, you can create multiple audiences. So Rich, for example, Rich has an audience of website traffic. Hey, anyone who visits my website. Rich also, he could upload a list of all of his past clients. So for any agents right now that a majority of your business comes from past clients, I would strongly, 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 strongly encourage you to do what I'm about to do right now. So you can create an audience, and we're going to create an audience. We're going to create a custom audience, and a customer list. So you're telling Facebook, hey, I've got a list of customers that I want to show a specific ad to. So you're creating an audience on a customer list. So it's going to ask me a few different questions. I always select this middle one here. All right, and then you need to tell Facebook, that these people gave you permission and that at some point when you collected their information. So we're going to do directly from customers because your clients, obviously at some point they gave you their contact info. And then I would upload a file. So this is where I would download, all of my leads and put them on a spreadsheet. Now I can upload this file right into Facebook. So I just had a random CSV file on my computer. So what I would do, I would then tell Facebook, this is Rich Johnson, all client list. And then I usually put a date next to it. So that way I knew the last time I updated it. So, maybe 6 months from now or a month from now, you want to put any new clients into this audience, you can do it. But this is all of Rich's, all of his past client list. So what I would do, I uploaded that file. I'm going to go ahead and hit next. And it's going to ask me a bunch of questions. And all of these questions are everything that existed in that database, in that spreadsheet. The only thing you really need to bring in, or I would recommend bringing in, is their name, email address, and phone number if you have it. At a very, very bare minimum, their email address. But I would prefer their, if you have their last name and their phone number. So what I'll do here, I know that this is first name, so I'm going to go ahead and click on, and I'm going to find first name. Right here it says agent last name, or the last name, so I'm going to choose last name. And then I've got phone number here, so I'm going to say, okay, this is their phone number. All right, so this is really cool what happens next. So I could come in here and I can hit upload and create. And what that means is, hey, Facebook, I want you to download all of my past clients now and create it as a custom audience. So I hit create, I give it a couple seconds. You're going to see that it uploads and it'll tell you how many people actually it imported in. So if you have 500 clients, it'll tell you, hey, 500 people just went in. So for this particular file I had on my computer, there's 14,000 people. So I created an audience. This is the audience of all of Rich's past clients for this example. So you guys will see that client list uploads. I'm actually just going to delete this just because I was doing it as an example. But I'm going to show you guys now how to use that audience. But any questions before I do? Any questions? All right, we are doing good. You guys are easy today. Either I'm making a lot of sense or I completely lost every one of you. But I'm going to keep trucking along. If you guys have any questions, send them through chat. All right, so now we know what custom audiences are. You can have multiple custom audiences. So to give you guys a couple examples, website traffic, that's a custom audience that we just created. The other thing that we did is we just created a custom audience of all of Rich's past clients. So that's two audiences right there. And then we've got another audience that we already created when we created our ad the other day. So that was the audience when we went in and we created, hey, I want to create an audience of anyone who's been on Zillow or Realtor.com. So technically, if I wanted to, I could have multiple audiences running within an ad. So this is where I understand I might have lost a couple of you, but I'm going to explain what that means now. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to create a new ad. All right, let's go ahead and create. And I'm going to start over so you guys can see this from scratch. I created a new ad. I'm going to go ahead and I need to make sure I do that special housing category. So I click on housing. And then I'm going to do a website traffic ad. We talked about all the different type of ads. Traffic, lead gen, and messages. Those are the three big ones I always recommend. But we're going to do a traffic campaign. And I'm just going to name this. I'm going to name it Rich Johnson Happy Thanksgiving. Because what Rich is going to do is he's going to make a video and he's going to create an ad and he's going to show this ad to all of his past clients. So let's call it Happy Thanksgiving video. All right. Daily budget. Let's just go ahead and set it up for $5. All right. And then the next screen, it's going to ask me now who I want to target with this. So you should notice now we've got the word audience here. and you've got custom audiences. So we've been talking about custom audiences for the last 10 minutes. So now it's going to pull up a list of all of my past clients that I have in here. So he's got one set up for his Join Our Team page. He's got another one set up for the Scripps Ranch office. He's got another one, for all of his past clients. So I'm just going to randomly pick one of these audiences and pretend that this was the list of all Rich Johnson past clients. Are you guys following me on that piece? Any questions, comments, concerns? These are the easiest training group I've ever had. No questions. Awesome. All right, so I've got that list created. So I could then say, in addition to that, I want to show everyone in San Diego, California. You don't have to choose this, but if you wanted to, you could. And once again, this is where I would type in if I was targeting people who are on Zillow, Realtor.com, and Trulia. So we already covered this in the Facebook Ads 101 class. But these are the three. These are the three that I'm going to choose. And I see your question, and I'll answer that here in just a second. So I choose the demographic, and then I'm going to go ahead and hit continue. And now I'm going to create an ad. So let's just pretend that Rich has a video of him saying Happy Thanksgiving to everyone. I tried to pay Rich to film a video like that, and he wouldn't. But no, I'm just kidding. So I'm going to use a video of Katie interviewing some agents. All right. So now I go in and I create my ad. And so primary text, once again, this is where you type in the primary text, and it's going to show up over here. This is where the headline shows up. And then the description, that's where I would put my description right here. So if I did that, now I've got, why isn't it updating? Oh, I got to put a website here. I'm going to put the website I'm going to send them to if they want to click on that and learn more information. All right, so I've got primary text, I've got headline, and I've got description. So primary text, this is where Rich could say, I had an amazing 2019 so far, and I'm really grateful for you as my client. What are you doing for Thanksgiving? Comment below and enjoy the holidays. And then the headline, I could just say, Happy Thanksgiving from Windermere, or whatever you want to type there. And then the description, want to search all homes for sale in San Diego. So we could put something together. Obviously, this is one that I'm just sending to all of my past clients, or I'm pretending to. So what would happen is if I went ahead and published this, let's pretend that I actually want to push this ad live. All right. You guys can ignore this next little piece real quick, but I'm just going to pull up this ad so I can see what it looks like on Facebook. And this is the answer to that question I just got a couple minutes ago. So now what will happen is, assuming this ad went live, the next time all of my past clients go on Facebook, they're going to scroll down and they're going to see, hopefully, a sponsored ad. Where is it? Did I scroll through it? I didn't see it yet. Maybe I clicked the wrong thing here. Let me do this again. There we go. So here's the video. So Katie, AKA Rich, is wishing everyone a happy Thanksgiving. So people would be going through Facebook and they would see that as a sponsored ad. All right. So question came in, how do we know Facebook isn't sharing our contact date with other realtors? I think you mean data. Gotcha. Yep. That's a part of their terms and conditions. they would get in massive trouble if they started sharing all of that. I don't know if you guys remember, they had a huge lawsuit last year. The lawsuit wasn't actually, it wasn't from them, but they were buying data from another company, and that other company was doing exactly that. So that's why they basically cut ties. But yeah, Facebook, they keep that data. That's part of their terms and conditions and everything. And that's also why when you were uploading a custom audience, they made you agree to their terms and conditions of that. But yeah, so this would be a great ad to run if I were you guys. You could run it over the next week and wish all your clients a happy Thanksgiving. Film a little video of you in your office. Do it on your cell phone. Or if you wanted to, what you could also do pretty easily is when you're creating the ad, I'm not sure if I showed the class this yesterday, but I could change the image that I want to use. So instead of using, this video, or you don't have time to create a video today, what you could do is you could add a photo. And so they have a bunch of stock photography. If you click on this little drop down, you're going to see stock photos here. So I type in stock photos, and I'm going to just type in Thanksgiving and see what images Facebook has that I could use. There we go. We got a bunch of them. So if I wanted to use this graphic and wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving, I could legally use that image because Facebook owns that image. Yep, so there it is. Happy Thanksgiving. So this is a great idea for a lot of my clients. I do a lot of these, especially over the holidays for my clients. They're getting in touch with all their past clients. It's a way for you to stay in front of everyone. And at the same time, be a human being and, you're wishing people a happy holidays. I'm going to pause here. Any other questions? We got a couple of them. Let me just make sure I answered all these questions. So will that go to past clients as a sponsored ad? Hopefully that answered that question, but that's exactly it is what it'll do. Yep. Any other questions? With a video like that, would Facebook charge you if they clicked view versus clicked learn more? That's a good question. So it depends on how you have your ad set up. If you're doing the example that I just did, which is traffic, they're going to charge you per impression. Don't worry about the charge per impression. It sounds like it could get expensive, but you can get thousands and thousands of impressions for $5 a day. So let me show you kind of what I mean by that. So if I go back to the audience and I take a look at the audience of this ad I created, you notice over here on the right-hand side, it'll tell you actually, it'll tell you your estimated reach over here on the right-hand side. So on a $5 a day budget, they're telling me I could potentially get in front of, 1,500 people. But obviously it depends on how big your list is. So hopefully that answers that question for you, Jeremy. But yeah, basically it's all based on your budget as well. We have it set up for, for this particular ad for clicks. I wouldn't get too tied up on that though, Jeremy, because they'll definitely spend your money. And if you have a daily budget set up, they do a really good job of evenly spreading that budget out through the day. So if that's your concern. All right. Any other questions? I think I answered all of them, but I'm just going to hang out here in the chat for a second. Any other questions? Otherwise, we're going to go ahead and move on. All right. So let's talk about the next action item. So that's custom audiences. We just opened up a can of worms. Custom audiences is kind of next level Facebook ads. At first, I would recommend just getting really comfortable creating a new ad like I showed you in the Facebook Ads 101 class. This is kind of the next step. So once you've done Facebook ads for a couple weeks, you guys feel really comfortable, then I would start really introducing, custom audiences and start creating ads around that. But I know it can be a little complex. But any other questions at all before I move on to the next topic? All right, no other questions coming in. So how to measure a successful Facebook ad? So I get asked this question all the time. Chris, how do you know if a campaign's actually doing well versus, completely bombing and tanking? So here's what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and pull up some of my clients here. We're going to take a look at a couple different ads. So these are some ads that I have currently running for some of my clients. And so over here, you're going to notice, let me just show you guys kind of some of the most important numbers. All right, so for this particular campaign, we've got Alex Stone. You look over to the right, I've generated him 36 leads. That ad has reached almost 4,000 people. He spent about $300. Impressions, it got in front of 5,400 people. And it's $8 cost per lead. So that's pretty high, but at the same time, he's targeting people, you know, who are looking for pool homes. So that's like a really specific niche. Here in San Diego, we do a lot of like, you know, golf course property or oceanfront property. When you start to do those, they can get a little expensive. Typically, most of my ads, the cost per lead is going to be anywhere between like $2 and $6 a lead. That's with me running them. For you guys, I would shoot, especially in San Diego, I would shoot between like $5 and $10 a lead. That's really, really good. So what that means is when you're creating an ad and you're choosing the type of objective that you want to do is Facebook lead forms. So let me create a new ad just to reiterate what I just said there so that makes sense. So if I went and I created a new ad, I would have to create an ad for lead generation. So that's the numbers and the statistics that we're looking at right now. That's cost per lead. Now, if I did a traffic ad, then I would be able to really identify what my cost per click is. So just to remind you guys what traffic is they see an ad for you, and as soon as they click on learn more here, it shoots them off of Facebook and it brings them to your website. So for the example I gave in yesterday's training, it was an ad for, you know, click here to view all homes for sale in Del Mar. As soon as people click on Del Mar, they should be on your website looking at property in Del Mar. So that would be considered a click. So let me find an ad campaign that I'm doing for cost per click. I do a ton of, here we go. So there's a couple of them here. I do a ton of Facebook lead forms for my clients though. So if we take a look here, you've got this client, Ken Jones. You'll notice over here, I've gotten him 320 clicks to his website, which is amazing. Now, if you notice, a click is as soon as someone clicks learn more. So he's charged per click. Right now, that's at 10 cents a click, which is amazing. I told you guys yesterday the average cost per click is about 30 cents. My goal personally is keeping it between like 20 and 40%, but that's because I do this for a living. For you guys, I would say between like 50 and 80 cents a click would be a really, really good starting point. So if you're doing ads for traffic, which is this option here, your cost per click should be between about 30 and 50 cents. That's probably where I would start if I were you guys. All right, and same type of metrics. I can see 320 people actually clicked on learn more. Total number of people it reached was 2,593. He spent almost $33 on this campaign, and number of impressions. So refresh my memory. Have we talked about impressions versus reach? I don't think we have, but can someone send me a message? Have we talked about reach versus, okay, thank you. So let me explain the difference between reach and impressions. So you'll notice reach, that number is always going to be lower than impressions. So this is what that means. Let me hop on Facebook here. All right, so I'm on Facebook and I scroll through my timeline, and over here on the right-hand side, you see the sponsored ad. If I stop to actually read the sponsored ad, that's considered reach. An impression is, think of an impression as someone who just drives by your billboard on the freeway, but they didn't even notice that billboard when they were driving. So as I'm scrolling through Facebook, let me see where another sponsored ad pops up. There's a sponsored ad. This is an amazing summit I want to go to here in San Diego, but I stopped and I'm looking at this. So that's considered a reach. So Facebook literally knows when you're scrolling and when you're using your thumb on your phone, they know when you sit and you pause and take a second to take a look at an actual ad. So that's considered a reach. Reach is 2 seconds. 2 seconds is considered a reach. So there's that. And then if I keep scrolling down, I'm going to see another sponsored ad, and I just kept going. So this was a sponsored ad, and I didn't even stop. I just kept going. That would be just considered an impression. They drove by and saw my billboard. That's what happened there. So that's the difference between reach and impression. Neither of those numbers really matter to me. My big thing is I want to get clicks, and I want to make sure I get leads. That's my big goal. So impressions and reach, I mean, it can sound really cool. I mean, if you tell your client, hey, I got your listing in front of 3,500 people. Yeah, you did, but only 320 actually clicked on it. That's really the big measuring stick for me. So you'll notice a lot of marketing companies, they'll tell you, hey, we'll get your ad and you'll get your listing in front of thousands of people. They're not lying to you, but you just didn't understand what an impression is versus what a click is. So hopefully that helps clarify and save someone some money when you get on the next sales call with a guy like talking about Facebook ads like this. So that is how to measure a really successful Facebook ad campaign. If you notice your cost per click is high, what that typically means is you have a headline that's not attracting people. So when people see your headline on an ad, let me find a sponsored ad again. Where was it? So this sponsored ad, that means if I don't click on it, that means I probably have a bad call to action. Don't forget to lock in your early bird pricing. I'm motivated to click that because I want to save money. But maybe they had traffic and conversion summit. That was the headline. Their cost per click is probably going to be more because not as many people are clicking that. Some good headlines that typically get a really good call to action. As I mentioned yesterday, all of my Facebook ads, I gave you guys all the verbiage for some really good call to action. Click to view all homes now. That type of call to action does really, really good with headlines. Click here to view all homes for sale now. Instantly see a list of open houses this weekend. Giving people like kind of that instant gratification. So I use the word, click here now, view now, download list, view property for free, stuff like that. Those type of headlines. Those are little small ways to help bring your cost per click down. So when you go in and you take a look at your cost per click and your cost per click is, $1 or $2, you need to change your headline. That's probably what that tells me. So change your headline on your ad. So that's how I measure a successful Facebook campaign. Now, shameless plug for you guys, next Thursday from 12 to 2, I will be doing a Facebook workshop. And what that is going to be doing is me sitting down and literally going through your ads with you and saying, hey, Ken, your cost per click is fantastic. I might recommend dumping some more money into this campaign because you're paying 10 cents a click. So that campaign or that class next week, it's a workshop from 12 to 2 next Thursday, and that's at the Rancho Bernardo office. I'll be there for 2 hours. Bring your laptop. Do some Facebook ads between now and then. So that is how to measure a successful Facebook campaign. All right, and then what I want to wrap up with is how to do an Instagram story ad. So as I mentioned, Instagram stories, that's like the next big hot thing. If you work with any millennials, they are using Instagram and they're probably viewing Instagram stories. So let me show you, it's kind of difficult on a desktop, but let me show you if I can see an example of who is a good example, who's doing some stories right now, who is safe to do a search. All right, so this particular person, so if you look at these profiles, do you notice how they have like a little ring around their profile picture? That means that they have a story. This particular gentleman, he does not. And so what will happen is if you click on him, it's just going to take you to his profile. If I click on this Gio or this Giovanni, it's actually going to pull up a Facebook story. And so this is what a Facebook story looks like, or an Instagram story looks like. So what it is it's constantly playing videos and it's just going from one to the next. So what consumers typically do is they'll go through and they'll watch a bunch of videos, and it allows them to really consume a lot of content quickly. Instagram stories is exploding. If you're not on Instagram, you need to be doing it. The other thing is Facebook, they also have stories. So if you notice here at the top, these are all stories, which is the exact same thing as Instagram stories, but it's obviously Facebook, their version. Instagram is owned by Facebook, so the similarities, I mean, if you create an Instagram story ad, you can also put that on Facebook stories as well. But yeah, same exact thing. So if I take a look at this particular client, this is one of his stories. He's advertising a particular property. This is actually fantastic. It's one of my clients here. He's bragging about one of his newly just listed properties. And I don't know if you guys saw that, but there's a learn more button here as well. So if I wanted to learn more about this specific property on Stevens Court, I could click on it and it'll take me to his website, I hope. So that's Instagram stories. Is anyone on this call using Instagram stories? Do we create the content? Yes, you need to, you're responsible for posting and creating all of that content. Yep, you have to create it. Yep. Anyone using Instagram stories though? If not, you should. And if you're on Instagram, I would start using it. If you're not, it might be a little bit too much of a learning curve for you. So let's go ahead and I'm going to create a Instagram story ad. So I'm going to create an ad the exact same way that I've been showing you guys. And there's only one little tiny difference that I'm going to do. So I'm going to go ahead and let's call it Chris IG for Instagram stories. So I'm going to go ahead and create an ad. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pick my audience. I'm not even going to set up an audience just because you guys hopefully at this point should be familiar with how to set up an audience for an ad. But I'm going to go ahead and show you guys one more time. Trulia, Zillow, Realtor.com. And then I scroll down. So this is the only different piece that you do, and that's placements. So for placements, I'm going to go ahead and hit edit placements. And here it's going to tell me all of the different platforms that I can put my ad. And if you guys aren't familiar with what those look like, over here on the right, you'll notice as I scroll through these, it's going to show you exactly what it looks like. So what I would do is I'm going to go ahead and just uncheck all for all of these because I don't want to put them on anywhere other than Instagram. So I'm going to uncheck everything. And then what I'll do is I'm going to go ahead and try and find where is Instagram stories. Okay, here we go. So it's stories. So now they have Facebook stories, they have Instagram stories and Messenger stories. It's all the same look and feel, but I would always recommend just doing all three of those. And then, yeah, you would go ahead and same thing, you would set up your budget. And now I'm going to create the ad itself. And so this is where I would put all my images. I would put my videos. I would build the ad the exact same way that you guys have been. So that is how to create a Instagram story. Any questions, comments, concerns, or anything about that? All right. I always throw that piece in last about Instagram. 99% of my clients, Facebook, that's really the main ad that they're doing. But I have some clients, kind of the younger millennials, younger agents, they're doing a lot of Instagram stories, and it's a really good niche for them. They're targeting millennials. They're targeting first-time home buyers because, as I mentioned yesterday, Instagram's a little bit a younger audience. So Facebook, you've got like pretty much people who are in the age of, I would say, like 22 to 25, all the way up to 65 plus. Instagram, you're a younger demographics. You're looking at like 15 years old up to about 35, 40. That's really kind of what Instagram and Facebook, like the actual users are. Pretty much everyone's on Facebook that's older than 20, 22, I would say. Younger generation, they're not on Facebook, surprisingly. So that is the Facebook Ads 201 class, though. So just to quickly recap, today we covered pixels. If you have any questions setting up pixels or how to set up a pixel, don't hesitate to let me know. I've also trained Jensen and Katie on this as well. So if you just want to send them over your pixel to install on your Windermere site, go ahead and shoot them an email. The other thing is just make sure to give them a couple days, because anytime I do these trainings, they get overwhelmed with a flood of responses from agents. But yeah, so we covered the app. We covered going